York. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ebro in the morning, the beautiful Laura Styles. Rosenberg, where's your... Oh, Wrestling T. Rosenberg.
I got my steamboat on.
Yeah. WWE's own Nia Jax in the building.
No, Ebro. The Raw Women's Champion, Nia
Wait, she
Jax.
got her name on the belt. That's not like a generic belt. This is like...
No, that's official.
Real deal.
It's the real deal.
It's got some...
gosh.
You know what I mean?
It does.
Do you guys still hit people with these? Like when you bring them out, when you get out there?
If I have to, yeah.
Have you cracked anybody with your belt?
It's a title,
It's a
Ebro.
title.
It's a title. A belt holds your pants up. A title and a championship.
Sorry. Wait,
Come on,
you
man.
can't just say belt?
No.
Rosenberg knows the deal. He knows the deal.
Yeah. I'll
he
be on
lives
the-
and breathes
Wait,
it.
what happened?
I'll be on the
you did
Backlash
this.
kickoff show. I
Yeah,
can't say
yeah.
you're defending
I know.
that. I say you're defending the title.
So have you done this before where you said belt and people were
No,
like...
because I'm not a
You
jackwagon.
Yes.
I am.
Listen, no, of course you are. They don't care if fans can call it whatever you like, but it is technically called a title.
It's a title.
No, you're right. It is a title, but it's also a belt.
No, well,
This doesn't hold up my pants.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Does it cinch your waist pretty nice, though? Does it give you a nice, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
Like, what is that called? Like a body shaper? Where you know, the women is like a, you know what I'm saying?
Now, I'm glad you brought up body shape. But first of all, Nia will be defending the title at Backlash Sunday. Are there tickets available at Backlash or not? Is Backlash sold? There are a couple left? A couple left for Backlash Sunday at Prudential Center. And then Monday, I'm sure you'll be kicking someone's ass again at Raw.
Yes,
Hopefully
you
still
do.
holding your title.
Definitely.
Definitely still holding your title.
Come
but
on.
what my angle that I got them excited about, because, superstars come in here, once every couple months, and I introduce them to everyone. But I thought Laura would be particularly excited because we talk about body image a lot. And that has sort of, over the last... 6 months kind of become something that you've taken from your real life and put on TV a bit.
Yes, definitely. It's something that has been. I'm Samoan and German. I'm a thick chick. I'm born to be thick and
Big gal.
Yes, exactly. And it's just something I lived with my whole life. And I realized that becoming more of myself on TV with Nia Jax, it actually has helped a lot of people, knowing that I fought with body image issues, especially here at the WWE. I get ruined all over Twitter and Instagram and whatnot. But the cool thing about what I've been trying to do is just embracing it, just letting people know that whatever they say about me does not hold anything against me. And that's something I always tell, especially my little niece, she's 7 years old, and Boyd made fun of her because she's the tallest girl in the class right now, and I'm always like, honey, don't let anybody tell you that you're not perfect, because you are perfect in every single way.
I can imagine. So you must have fans reach out to you constantly, and how you probably change their whole perception of who they are, right?
Oh yes, and I was telling the story actually, backstage, we have VIP meet and greets, and this kid had seen me walking backstage, and he ran up to me and he was just like, I just want to let you know that because of you, I feel comfortable with who I am and I can't believe that I get to meet you right now. And I almost brought me to tears. I'm thinking this little boy.
I would have been crying left and right.
I was like, oh my gosh, God. I gave him a big hug, and I'm thinking I didn't realize the effect it has.
Yeah.
But it's something that I'm very grateful for.
You said you're Samoan and German, so
Yes.
as people of color, it's very common to have big women in our family, tall women, shapely women, voluptuous women, all different body styles, and but it would seem that you said on social media you get roasted.
Yes.
But odds are there are more women at home dealing with what you're dealing with than being this perfectly, or I guess what's seen as perfect image of a woman, right?
Yes. I think it's a combination of things with wrestling, Peter can attest to this, our fans are so passionate that they love to roast people. They love to roast the characters because it's a part of the culture. So it's a combination of that, but it's Nia Jax, the character is being ruined, but I'm the one reading it. I'm the one sitting there going oh God,
But you were also you were also a heel for a while, right?
Yes.
Weren't you supposed to be not liked?
Exactly. And that was but it's something because I'm so different than all the other girls. We have Alexa Bliss, who's 4'11", 5 foot on a good day. You know what I mean? She's 4'11", 100 pounds. So I'm triple her size.
Right.
And they love to see their Alexa Bliss and their Sasha Banks and their Bailey, and I'm double their size. So it's just different and something that they have to get used to.
So now people love you. Are you you're a good guy now? Good girl.
I guess we could say I'm a good.
I've told you this
Yeah.
many times, but at Madison Square Garden, I think was the first show you did after you'd really become a good guy.
Yeah.
And hearing the way the crowd reacted was awesome. The love that she gets from kids and everyone in general. And I told her, I mean, listen, you're a very smart person. You can look around at the climate we live in and see that there is a great opportunity to be a woman of color who is different from a body shape standpoint.
Yes.
All these things that for a long time were a disadvantage could now be a great advantage, which is amazing.
Which I like, that's my message, is to just like make it, nothing should be a disadvantage. Like I shouldn't have a disadvantage because I'm bigger. Like I worked my butt off to get here and I have the same qualifications as all the other girls. Like why can't I do this? Why can't anybody of color of a different size do it? So.
You know, I think a lot of it too that people don't, I don't know. I know wrestling is family fun friendly, but you know, here we go a little bit farther. You know, people have been conditioned to believe certain things are acceptable and not acceptable just by the things that are celebrated.
Yes.
Right. And there are people that have been in control of those images and what they've wanted to condition the public to believe is acceptable. And you said, well, why can't I do this and why can't I do that? And a lot of, in the past, it's been because they didn't really care about appeasing certain groups.
Yes.
Right, and those days are gone.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Rosenberg's pointing out is that, you know, someone like yourself, you're mixed culture, right? Different body type than what's been traditionally seen as beautiful, but you're a beautiful woman. And I'm sure you're seeing this also. What's the lady that's come up here before, the model? Super popular.
Ashley Graham.
Ashley Graham, right? Even in like Sports Illustrated and these, you know, and Serena Williams like one of the best athletes on earth.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Deals with like body shaming.
Yeah.
And she's been very open about it too.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy you said that because I used to be a plus size model in New York, like way back in the day after I graduated high school. And even then, it still was kind of like, oh, you're not this, you're not that. Like, oh, we're going to take her, your hair's too curly, your forehead's too big. And I'm like, dang, like it's like, you know, you're supposed to be accepting in this image, but it's literally like as of recently, it's been something that people are starting to actually be like, okay, let's accept it all. Like, there's nothing wrong with anybody. There shouldn't be any kind of stigmatism towards the way people look. So, it's a cool little wave. I like it.
Tell these guys your come up. You're the Rock's cousin. You guys are legit blood related.
I love how
He
she
had
rolls
to.
her eyes.
He had
Is that bad?
to.
Well, Rock,
You had to.
Well, he has
Wait,
a
is
man
that
crush
bad?
on the Rock.
Oh, you do
Ebro
really
has
have a
legit.
crush?
Yes.
I mean, who doesn't? Like,
Yeah, I
why
mean,
you acting
I
like I'm the
don't.
only one?
I don't. You are the only. No, just kidding.
And, no, but I think it's pretty cool that his mom is essentially why you're in the wrestling business.
Yes. So obviously WrestleMania 28, I was sitting there front row watching my cousin and John Cena in the main event, and the energy of the crowd. If you've ever been to a WrestleMania or just a live event period, there's an energy in the crowd that is just unmatched.
And at this point, you're just like your post your college basketball career, your post modeling career.
Yeah, still modeling.
How old
still
were you at
modeling?
this time?
I was 28.
Okay.
Trying to
Yeah.
figure out what you wanted to do.
Exactly. Like I was in the mortgage industry. Like I was just trying to figure things out and thinking like, what do I do next? Because I've always been an athlete and I always had like that itch. And so when I was there, I'm just like, I turned to my aunt during the main event and I just said, do you think I could ever do something like this? Because it's, you know, something I've grew up watching, obviously, because my family's in it. But, you know, and so she looked at me and she said, this is what this company needs. Like, you are what these women and these young girls need out here.
And it never ever crossed your mind before? Never.
No, I just never I never thought that I had met like some of the bigger wrestlers in person and like I was always bigger than them. And I was like, oh, like that's considered a big girl. I'm definitely considered like, you know what I mean? So it was always like, just like the insecurity, you know.
You
like,
automatically counted yourself out.
Yeah, I didn't think that I could do it. And then, so she, you know, stuff happened to where I was able to get a tryout at the WWE.
If the Rock's mom starts calling the Samoans and everyone needs to be, we're interested in checking her out. She gets the opportunity,
Well,
right?
no, first of all, she was actually I was gonna be go to the wrestling school, by the Offa's wrestling school,
Yes.
the Laughing Samoans, and Dwayne
What's
got
it called?
Laughing. Offa, Uncle Offa.
Got it.
But
They were the
he's
tag
part of
team.
the
Remember
Laughing
Offa and
Samoans.
Sika, the Samoans?
Yeah.
I know.
And
so they have a wrestling school.
Yeah, he has a wrestling school over in Claremont in Florida, and
Never knew this.
I was actually gonna go train with them, but then Dwayne heard that I was gonna do that, and he said, actually, they're opening up a performance center in Orlando, and I would rather you try out for the WWE, see if you would even something you'd want to do before going to train, and then them having to retrain you because they have a certain way of doing things. And so I went in purposely not letting anybody know who I was, And
Good thing Rosenberg wasn't there.
yeah, exactly. Rosenberg would have called me out.
That's The Rock's cousin.
No, but then that's just adding a different type of pressure on you that you don't need.
Yeah. It's crazy because I walked in the door, like, I'm such a tomboy. I usually, like, used to never wear makeup, not a stitch of makeup, like, always in basketball shorts and, like, a sports bra. And I walk in there like I usually would for any kind of athletic event, like hair up, no makeup. These girls were dressed to the nines. Like, literally had their makeup artist leaving the performance center as I'm walking in. I'm like, holy crap, what the heck did I walk into? I was like, this is not I'm not at this level right now. I felt like total outcast. But then I tried out, and like after the first day, like 2 of the coaches were like, you're my first round pick. Like, we want you to come. And I was like, sweet.
So dope.
Yeah, it was cool.
So would love to know, does the WWE, and I don't know if this is known or what talked about, the Samoan culture is given so much
yes.
to the WWE, right?
Yes.
What is that relationship like? Because I mean, it's literally like so many superstars have come through the WWE and just wrestling being such a, and me not growing up and getting my ass kicked by Samoans as a kid for breaking somebody's heart, one of their sister's heart. Come on, man, y'all didn't all have to.
That's what you get.
Y'all didn't all have to. Y'all big, man. It's like 400 pounds, man. It's just me. And but fighting and wrestling and that level of horseplay is culturally something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know I have Samoan friends that literally, like, they would be bored and be like, yo, you know what we should do? We should just play chess. We should slap box. Let's go in the yard and box. You'd be like, yo, chill out. But it's culturally something that you know, is fun, right?
Yeah.
But did that transcend into wrestling? Is that why Samoans have been attracted to wrestling? Or was it the WWE that just saw this cultural group of people that is just so physically, amazing that they wanted to embrace the culture like that?
Well, so Dwayne's grandfather, Peter Maivia, is part of my family. So he's, oh God, it's hard. There's a long lineage. He's my dad's first cousin. He was raised with my grandfather.
Okay.
Or by my grandfather. And he actually began wrestling in New Zealand. It was something that he found a passion for, and then he started traveling the world and becoming a big name. High Chief Peter Maivia, and that's how it kind of like started with the Samoan lineage. And then he found Afa and Sika, and then he also found Tonga.
Yeah.
And so like it just became like this whole, and you know how Samoans are, like, we're super loyal, we're super like everybody's family, even if they're not family, like. So it just became this big like family, and then they started having kids that just became, and then they had kids, and you know how many kids we like to reproduce, and then so it's just, and WWE, if you look back, it's there's a lot of legacies that happen. I mean, look at Shane McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon, and his father, like, so it's just it's a passed on tradition. And
and you can feel the Samoan presence there is a real thing. Like, if you're a Samoan who's interested in, it's a small enough group of people, right? Yeah. That if you're Samoan and really passionate and have the body type for it, you could get a look. Yeah. Like, it's just, the history is so deep.
You'll get a look. It doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get it.
No, then you gotta be talented.
I will say this. Genetically speaking, right? The Samoan kids that I grew up with were the fastest, strongest, coolest, loving, most aggressive. Like, it's just the whole culture itself is some of the best pure athletes that you'll ever.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
it is culturally fascinating, though, because there are a lot of Samoan personality traits too. Like you said, the fun-loving sort of big, family-oriented. Yeah. And when I say big, I mean personality.
No, both.
Right.
Yeah.
It is interesting though, because it's such a small population that has had such a cultural impact. Sort of like how we talk about Jamaica. Yeah. Right? This really small place that is just felt
life.
Everywhere.
Island life, yeah.
Well, it's kind of a phenom right now, like in football, like I think one of the first round draft picks was like a Samoan kid, and like it's just, and like any good O-line is full of Samoans. Like,
defensive line too.
Exactly.
Defensive line
too. But it's something that, like, I think Samoans in particular, like, we love to carry on our culture, and our culture is family, love, and we're always out and getting athletic and whatnot, but like, it's something that we love to, and we're proud of carrying on. Like, we did an interview at WrestleMania, and you're asking me like why Dwayne is so associated with like being Samoan and not being black, and I'm like, that's not necessarily it. He's just so proud of his culture, and he was raised by his mother, who's a very proud Samoan woman, that it's carried on.
And also growing up in Northern California, Samoans and black people look at, so if you grew up around Samoans, black people look at Samoans as black people.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they're just black people that are from
Samoan.
an island.
Yeah.
And they're Samoan.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but in America,
But there's a cultural thing that is Samoan.
Right.
That, look, Samoans love hip hop and black culture too.
Yes.
They got
Yes.
some amazing singers. Do not get it fucked up. There's a reggae group right now that almost won a Grammy that are these giant, huge diesel Hawaiian Samoan dudes that are the most amazing reggae singers out right now.
No, so culturally there are a lot of ties, but I think
Right.
I think what we've seen is what I was saying is there are a lot of American black people who and white people who are like, oh, is The Rock considered a black champion? That question gets asked.
Right.
I think it's hard for them to understand because in America we see skin color.
Yeah.
Whereas Rocky knows that he's black, but he doesn't identify as a skin color. He identifies with this culture
Yeah.
that is the most
Right.
important part of his life.
Yeah.
And in America, we're like, no, you claim your race. And it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
other people don't really see
that.
things like
But
that.
he's also like he literally is. I know it sounds so cheesy, but he is the people's champion. Like I think he just like transcends every race. Like every guy,
Yeah.
every gender loves him. Like no matter what, like he just transcends everything.
Did you get a baby present for his new baby?
Yes, I did. I helped throw the baby shower for the baby.
You did?
Yes, in LA. Of course I did.
How was the shower?
It was fun. There's mimosas there. Enough said.
Okay.
So,
What is a Samoan baby shower like? Is it like a Spanish one? Because we get wasted at our baby showers.
My
Okay.
my mom was a German. It was the first time she ever had mimosas. Like, oh, these taste good. Like four mimosas. In. Her and my aunt were just like
lit.
having a howl. I'm like, calm down, ladies. How old are we?
can we have Moana talk as far as like, because I'll probably never get The Rock on this show at this point, but
Never say never.
never say never, but how important is that movie in seeing your culture on screen and Pacific Island culture on screen? How important is that movie?
So when he was making it, he kept telling me, he's like, you don't understand what's coming. Like, this is happening. Like, it's going to be huge. Like, we're really making it, like, really authentic because when he first showed me the character of Maui, like I started to cry. I was like, that's Uncle Peter.
Right.
That's his grandfather. Like that. And then like the grandmother was totally our grandmother.
Right.
Like, and so the entire movie was basically like just me reliving, like, it's my life.
Right.
But you know, growing up, you never really saw that, you know, the Disney princesses weren't
Of course not.
us, like anything like it. And it was really more important for the fact that like my niece got to see it, and then, you know, my other nieces who are growing up get to see it.
In my house, like, let's have real talk. So my daughter likes all the movies, right?
Yes.
But Moana was the movie that she was like, saw herself.
Yes.
Right? And while she loves Elsa,
Yeah.
and that's cool, but Moana, she watched every day she dressed up as Moana as Halloween.
Yeah.
I put a wig on. I was Maui. I bought this like tattooed shirt.
I have the
Like,
picture.
Oh, I need to see it.
it was
Yeah.
terrible. It was terrible, but she loved it.
Yes.
You know, which is all that counts. But I don't know if people actually get why that movie's so important in what you're articulating right now.
It's another thing that like WWE actually, it's seeing yourself. Like when somebody can actually see themselves on TV and relate to it, like it just makes so much more of your identity like feel right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what the movie did for a lot of even like young white girls I saw dress up as Moana and
Yeah.
have their dad dress up as
Yeah.
Maui.
Well, I
like,
always
very
point that
true.
out too,
You know?
is that when we get really excited about these representations for what they mean for the kids who look like them.
Exactly.
And that's amazing. But you have to also remember how amazing it is for the white kids to have someone of color who they look up to
Yes,
now also.
exactly. Right.
It changes culture on everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's why we act like it's just entertainment. Black Panther, all these things, it's not just entertainment.
Yeah.
It shapes the way kids grow up
Yeah.
and what they admire. You know, it's a big
Exactly.
deal.
Yeah, so it's something that like, I mean, that movie it just blew up. It was insane. Like every kid knew every word to every song, even the Samoan songs. Like
Yeah.
my nephew and niece like just busted it out. I'm like, you guys don't even know Samoan. I don't even know Samoan.
Yeah.
But like they would bust out every word because like that it just sent such a great message. And like I'm really really proud of him and the entire team that like Lin-Manuel who came up with all the music. Like it gives me goosebumps thinking about.
Well,
it.
and
Like,
then
it's
the
freaking
ill
awesome.
twist is Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's Puerto Rican, right?
Yeah.
Which is some brown people on an
Yeah.
island also,
Yeah.
right? So, but just that connection, while there's not necessarily the same culture, there is the same shared experience,
Yes.
right? Of being, you know, from a small island and having to be culturally proud and have this like solidarity so that you can, you know, integrate into other aspects of society while not losing who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very dope. And I could talk about Moana all day long, but let's not do that.
Start singing it.
We were this is
How's it go?
okay before you start singing.
No, you sure?
We were reporting earlier on our show. We were talking about Hulk
Make
Hogan.
way! Make way!
Oh my god.
To see.
Nah.
It was Issa's gonna be upset with me.
This is sad. You heard the song more. You've heard this more than anything in the world, and yet all you sing about is this.
Whoop-dee-dee scoop poop.
And you don't remember that? That's sad.
Anyway, earlier we were talking about Hulk Hogan, how there's talks of him possibly coming back to the WWE. How do you feel about all that?
You know what? I think it's great. I think it's Hulk Hogan. He's done so much incredible things for the business, and you know, he's definitely take the time off to fix whatever he needs to do, and hopefully he can come back stronger and better. And you know, that's one thing that WWE is very good at is always making sure that people get their second chance. So.
Yeah, if you've contributed, the likelihood that you're gonna come back. That's what I've want. One thing Vince McMahon doesn't do is close the door. Once when Bret Hart came back 10 years ago, I was like, oh.
Tell me why that was significant, because I don't know.
Because Bret's history with the company, with the way that he left, leaving for WCW, and him and
that was a bitter competition
at the time that it was all going on, you know, and he left. As he's gone, when he's gone, his brother passed away while working there. So like there was so much personal stuff, like his family, which had been much like Nia's family. We talked about the Samoans relationship. Bret Hart's family is like this long Canadian relationship with Vince McMahon, where Bret's father, Stu Hart, had a relationship with Vince's father. Like this goes back 50 years. And yet at some point, Bret was like, you screwed me over. I'm leaving. I hate you. Then while he's gone, his brother passed away. Like all this really messy, complicated stuff happened. And then fast forward years later, Bret returns a hero and has a match at WrestleMania and leaves victorious.
And Hulk Hogan is the quintessential, damn near face. Of the WWE. There's no way they can get around not trying to figure out how to reconcile somebody having some personal issues, right?
Yeah.
And then trying to get the community back together, and that story of forgiveness, obviously. And then, Hulk Hogan's the first superstar. Like, that's the first true mainstream.
Yes.
Yeah. To me, he is so important. And like, if you saw, did you watch the Andre the Giant documentary?
Oh my gosh,
I was going to ask you about that too.
I like tears.
And you could see how much Andre meant to Vince McMahon in the interview. I'm sure you know Vince McMahon.
Yes.
I'm sure you've never seen that side of Vince McMahon.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I was crying. Vince is like everybody, like in the backstage, it's like everybody's kind of like the father figure. Like you want to make him proud. You want, but then when he's so strong and like very powerful when he like delivers things. But when we saw that, I was like, it took my breath away.
Do you still? I don't know Vince. I've only met him a couple of times, and when I see him, obviously I tighten up very quickly. I know. I asked him for a job once. I don't know if he knows that I'm that same person. I'm convinced he doesn't know that I work there. When they tell me, they're like, "Hey, Vince, like blah blah," I'm like, he doesn't know that I exist. So stop. I don't believe you. But in your case, he definitely knows that you exist. Do you still do you tighten up when you see him, or are you like comfortable with him and play around with Vince McMahon?
It's definitely a combination of like respectful and like loving. You know what I mean? Like I definitely respect because he is the boss at the end of the day, and he puts in so many hours. That is the hardest working person I've ever met in my entire life. But yes, there is that loving like playfulness that you can have with him because he does love a good joke. You did watch the greatest Royal Rumble, did you not?
Yes, I did.
He does love a good joke, Are you
talking about Titus?
Titus World Slide, yeah.
The Titus fall. What has been the reaction backstage to Titus's fall at the greatest Royal Rumble?
Oh, poor Titus. First of all,
that was crazy.
I know. First of all, we were all grateful he didn't go a little bit to the right.
Why was there stuff there?
There's a post. There's a metal post. Like if he would have gone a little bit to the right or a little bit up, he would have really been hurt.
Yeah,
but he landed perfectly right.
Ebro, all you saw was little feet.
I saw it. I watched it 1,000 times,
amazing.
and I was like, "Wait, did he?"
Yes.
Was that?
You can't also.
But then when I saw it
can't
from the
recreate
back
it.
and he actually hits, you see his toe catch.
Yeah.
And he just,
No, but like if you see his coach, his eyes look up like, oh no, like, he's like, I want to go in there.
And you saw when Titus came in here, that is a giant man.
yeah, he's a big man.
Like,
He's a
man,
big man.
he's underrated huge.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
And so that was, I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
good for him though.
No, I think it was. He honestly, like, they obviously turned it into a positive. Like Titus, like, thankfully he was okay, but it was the best moment of the show.
It was.
Like,
It's
everybody's
history.
still talking about it, so I was really happy for him.
Well,
now every time he runs to the ring, the whole crowd's just got to go.
I know.
Oh,
Well, I'm trying to figure out if there's a way that he can recreate it more often. Like, is there a way that
Did you see Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he has a T-shirt too, by the way.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
T-shirt.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Nah,
He
thanks
needs
for
a sponsor, Slip and Slide for the summer.
Ah.
You know
That's
what?
exactly what I'm saying.
bring that slip and slide
Slip
back.
and slide
By the way,
back.
it's great branding when you for the WWE audience.
Oh yeah.
Slip and slide.
Hello.
They
I'm
still
about to
make a
get one
slip
for
and
my
slide?
I need
housewarming
10%.
party. Yeah.
10%, Vince.
That's
Run
it.
it.
Should the slip and slide deal go down? No, he got you. He got you. Nia, the Backlash defending her title this Sunday on the
Yes.
WWE Network against Alexa Bliss. Good luck. And then Monday, Raw at Nassau Coliseum.
Yes.
And I'm sorry,
there.
Bear is not here.
I'm really upset with that. I texted him this morning. I was like, I'm canceling the show. Bear is not here. This is BS.
They won't let us bring dogs in the building. It's actually the building. He's tried to bring
He would,
his dog.
yeah, we would,
Oh,
we would have
really?
Bear on the
no
reg
problem.
if
Smuggle him in.
I know. If he was like one notch smaller, I would snuggle him. He does not fit in a bag. Like, he just doesn't make it. I've tried.
She said smuggle, not snuggle.
I
You
said-
said snuggle. She said smuggle.
He did say snuggle him in.
I did?
Calm
said
down, broski.
smuggle.
Calm down.
So the funniest thing, and I've said this, but I think no one really appreciates the level to which I mean it. So she started getting obsessed with Bear on social media, and she hits me up one day and she's like, "Hey, I just want you to know, as a warning, whenever you post about Bear, and I mean whenever, I'm going to comment." And I was like, haha. When I tell you, if he appears in my IG story, there's a DM waiting from her every single time. If I post him and it's
woman
like,
of her word,
oh,
man.
he
I
wants a
am, I
bone.
am.
Give him the damn bone. I mean, everything I post.
Give him the damn bow, Rosenberg. He's earned it.
Thank you, Nia.
You're welcome. Thank you.